With Gina.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, Thursday's Christie's auction of more than 120 of David Gilmour's guitars brought in an amount that nobody expected. That grand total being $21.5 million. Wow. The black Fender Stratocaster he played on numerous Pink Floyd recordings was the big star, and I was going to do a news story the other day that this was about to happen, but I thought, let's wait and see what it actually goes for. They were estimating that guitar to go from anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000, respectable. Shattered that record at $3.975 million, almost $4 million.
Wow.
Blew right past the estimate. That record was previously held by a $2.7 million white Strat signed for charity by Gilmour, Paul McCartney, Eric Clapton, members of the Stones, Queen, The Who, and many others. Wow. And it just obliterated that record. Other big items in the sale were a 1954 Stratocaster with the serial number 0001 that Gilmour played on Another Brick in the Wall Part 2. That instrument sold for $1.8 million. A 1955 gold-top Gibson Les Paul, also used on Another Brick, sold for $447,000. That's a record price for a Les Paul. So big night at Christie's.
Well, we always talk about this memorabilia stuff going insane. They're selling James Bond's Aston Martin DB5 coming up. They're selling all this like Ayrton Senna helmets and fire suits and like all the junk that wasn't anything from back in the day. It was always, I guess it kind of started with guitars. It's like guns, cars, guitars. Those are like the things, but none of it had any. And then sports stuff. Nothing had a lot of value to it. Now it's all going.
Dexter, you collect anything, Dexter? Sorry to interrupt, Gina.
Am I what?
Do you collect any musical stuff?
I mean, I've got a bunch of guitars, but my most expensive guitar is like $100 probably. So,
what are you now?
Well, the people, so there are things that are like inherently expensive, and then there are things that get expensive for no real reason. Like nobody goes, oh man, when I was young, I was thinking about buying that castle, but I passed on it.
Boy, do I feel stupid.
And now I bought a big wheel instead, and now it's worth so much more.
Right.
So you don't have that. But with things like old race cars and guitars and things like that, they don't have an inherent value like commercial real estate, you know. Now, yeah, you may have passed on some acreage in Nevada that's now worth a lot more than it was, but it's still real estate and acreage, and it had a value at the time, commensurate with whatever the value was of the property around it. I was at the Shelby Museum outside of Denver last week, and it's like I was looking at cars that were $40 million that were in England, and Carroll Shelby didn't want to pay for the shipping of the car back to the United States, so he was asking the guy in England, just push him into the sea. Like, just shove him off the barge, like into the ocean. I don't want to pay the $2,000 or whatever it was. And then he'd get the guy ended up, Alan Mann or whoever it was, shipped all the cars back anyway. Just like, this car's a championship car. I'm not going to throw it in the bay, you know. And then Shelby was like to the guys at his shop, like, who wants this car? And everyone's like, I don't.
I don't have room for it.
All right, someone give me $3,000 for this car, and I will.
We can all move on.
$40 million.
God.
Phil Spector bought his Daytona for. The one guy bought it for like $3,400, and then he sold it to like Phil Spector for like $10,000, and Phil drove it to work on the street, you know. And it's like now it's $30 million.
I have a theory about this.
And there must be a million guitar stories that way. So many guys had so many of those guitars, and it wasn't something from Pink Floyd, but like a Sunburst or something that's worth hundreds of thousands of bucks. And I used to leave it in the back of my car at night when I lived in San Francisco. You know, blah, blah, blah. Yes.
So you know how you talk about the UFC is only going to get more popular with kind of the pushback, pussification of society. Everything's digital. Everything's Bitcoin, everything's an MP3. So the stuff, the tangible stuff is rising up and becoming more valuable.
I was talking when I was having the conversation with Lewis on Friday's show about AI, and we're talking about sort of how everything is going to be digital and everything's going to be doable and everything. I said the market that's going up in the automotive world is not Italian Ferrari V12 street cars. The market that's going up is race cars with a story. Where did it race? It won Le Mans. It won this guy, this famous Phil Hill or Brian Redmond or some famous or Paul Newman or somebody, Steve McQueen. He drove this car at Sebring in 1977. Like, it's all the story. It's all, the race cars are all one off, or they made 3 of them or whatever. They're hand built, whatever. You can say, well, that's a Dino Ferrari or that's a Daytona Ferrari. And you go, that's a pretty cool, unique Italian sports car. And you'd be right. But they still made 1,300 Daytonas. Right. And they still made 550 or 350 Ferrari Lusos or whatever. And that's still pretty rarefied air. They made a million Mustangs, but they made, 300 of these. But this race car that won Le Mans outright in 1979, there's one. Yeah. There's one. And so in a world where everything is sort of digitized and synthesized, the market for like the one and the one off, and that car would be worth $1 million, but it's worth $10 million because this guy drove it in this race in that time, and it's in the book. So I do think as we get further and further away from the analog world, and we do get in this, everyone can have a 100-inch plasma TV in their home, and everyone can just sort of have everything. Everyone's got an iPhone 10 and whatever. We're going to start getting into this memorabilia and these things because what we're really chasing is the story. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you have a Ford Pinto, you don't go, hey, this is a Ford Pinto, and they made 2.7 million units of this car. So anyway, moving on. You don't want that. There is a Ford Pantera that they didn't make that many of, but it's not that big a deal. But then there's one that Elvis had, and it's got a bullet hole in it. So that's the story. Everyone wants to tell. Yeah. So the guitar is great, but Gilmour playing it is better, and him playing it, recording the wall, better. Yep. And so so you're now paying for the story. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you better be able to back it up because anyone can attach a story to anything. I'm sure it's certified through and through.
Right.
Where in the world is Matt Lauer? I can tell you where he's not. He's not in the Today Show 25th anniversary video that was very long and completely scrubbed of his name or likeness for Studio 1A. Though he co-anchored the morning show for 20 years, Lauer was completely ignored during the retrospective last Thursday.
You think it was intentional?
Did we figure out what he did? Besides, he had a cool door.
Yeah, he had the door that locked.
He had the door that locked with the button under his desk. He was he had many allegations by many women and a tie-in. Guess who else wasn't in the video? Ann Curry. She wasn't mentioned either.
What?
Now, according to
like her.
Well, here's the deal. According to Vanity Fair, Lauer was fired from the Today Show in 2017 after several women accused him of sexual harassment and assault, while Curry was fired in 2012, reportedly after clashing behind the scenes with Lauer. She never confirmed the rumors, though she did say in a 2018 interview with the Washington Post that she had warned NBC executives about Lauer's behavior. So there's a little tie-in there somewhere. I have some of the red.
Well, it comes with the territory. Like if you work with a bunch of investigative reporters, a whole bunch of people
buzzing around an office all day long.
You work an entire office. This is not a sheet metal fabrication place. You do what you want at that place. But you have a bunch of people that are constantly turning over rocks and looking at things with a jeweler's loupe, and all they're doing, their wiring is like, I'm going to get to the bottom. And they must be coming in, like, I heard stories about Weinstein. I heard stories about, well, if the guy who's in the next cubicle is trying to bang everyone on your floor, it seems logical that wiring of those people would be aware of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have some of the video. Nothing exciting happens. Savannah Guthrie talks. Gene Shalit gets dragged across the stage.
Why did I like
Next story.
Ann Curry?
Next.
Yeah, I did too.
Well, so she's gone.
She's been gone since 2012 because she had a little behind-the-scenes clash with Lauer, apparently.
She must
allegedly.
have got paid, right?
I would imagine
didn't she-
so.
Vindicated. At least.
Lauer is. What is Ann Curry's nationality? Because she's a bit of all right. She's got something going. I don't know what her. Do we know what her nationality is?
She's born in Guam. Father, American from Pueblo, Colorado. English and Irish ancestry, and her mom is Japanese. So English, Irish,
military,
Japanese.
right?
Got a good combo of that. Good, the best of all
Diversity.
worlds. Yeah,
Her dad's from the place where you write all the letters?
yeah. Pueblo, Colorado is where you go if you need a government pamphlet.
Right.
Like they'd have those commercials where they'd go, would you like to open your own post office and get paid? You're like, yes,
Yeah.
I would.
than
Well, then
anything.
you get a pamphlet from Pueblo, Colorado, and it'll tell you how, or like you can open a candle store and the government will pay you. Like, and it's all, and also if you just need to know more about radon, like when I was a kid, it was like send away to Pueblo, Colorado. I don't know why.
That was the hub.
Right to Ann Curry's dad.
For entertainment, it was Buena Vista, Florida.
I had there was
It's all the
there's
Nickelodeon,
there was a
Disney.
few there was few places I would like as a kid I'd watch them all the like game shows and stuff like from New York, and I remember like why are they saying New York twice?
City's
remember
so
that
nice.
was weird. The other one was if you wanted to send away for anything that had to do with a cereal box, it was Battle Creek, Michigan. That was like, I used to sit around and go, well, I bet you go to Battle Creek and they just hand out little widgets and fun puzzles and things like that.
Jacks.
The locals are tired of it. They throw it away.
Pueblo, Colorado is just filled with information about how to do things and payments. I don't know how those places become hubs. Battle Creek, Michigan is where Kellogg's
Yes.
was,
yeah.
right?
Okay.
And I think but you always have to send away to Battle Creek. And, I don't know why Pueblo has all the info, but that's where they have the info.
No.
Sorry.
Well, the Cape Cod Times, and they should know, reports that the young man who has accused actor Kevin Spacey of sexual assault sent a text message to his girlfriend on the night of the alleged incident saying he, quote, got autographs and a hell of a story. The teen, who seems to have been 18 at the time, also texted help several times. It seems like it might have been a little tongue-in-cheek. According to screenshots of messages attached to a motion filed by Spacey's attorney seeking the accuser's now missing cell phone. But Spacey's defense attorney claims the screenshots of the texts between the girlfriend and the accuser on the night of the questionable incident, they argue that some of the texts have been deleted, some things just aren't adding up. The accuser and his mother, she was the former Boston TV news anchor Heather Unruh, previously had deleted text messages and other materials from his phone, according to a police report, because Unruh told the police that she had deleted evidence of her son's frat boy activities before initially handing over a phone. Spacey is charged with...
That means something sexual or a couple N-bombs could have been
Community
dropped.
service, giving to the charity, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
Oh, you were in a frat?
kitchen
Right.
work,
Yeah, maybe a community garden.
Right,
Oh, you
outreach.
cleaning up along the side of the freeway.
Yeah.
parks.
You're wiping down, graffiti, maybe.
Yeah. Spacey's charged with indecent assault and battery on the 18-year-old busboy at this Nantucket bar in July 2016. According to the police reports, the teen told investigators that Spacey bought him a series of drinks. They were introduced one night. During the course of the evening, he made suggestive comments. He repeatedly invited him back to his house. He unzipped the guy's pants and rubbed his penis over his underwear as they stood in a crowd near the piano. The judge has given the accuser until July 8th to produce the phone, or he and his mother will have to appear in court and explain themselves.
What's going on with Cuba Gooding Jr.? He was in trouble,
Oh, he
too.
got railroaded.
Everybody.
I mean, kinda. As far as I've seen.
People need to know, like, you go to a club, you go to a place where alcohol is flowing and people are horny, people are going to try things.
Well,
and the question is how hard do they try
Yeah.
and how far past the line do they go?
From what I read, unless there's been an update that I'm not aware of, this girl came up to him at a bar and they're talking. Then they go into another room and start making out.
With Cuba?
Yeah.
Or Cuba?
Cuba.
Cuba?
And then she said that he touched her breast, but they did say that they were making out. Yes,
Yeah, that's what you do.
I'm not really sure how that
The
works.
next step.
I was going to say a logical progression.
Can I say this?
It's not like he just ran up to her and grabbed her.
In 2019, when they do we have surveillance footage from inside the club. It's a little too grainy to figure out what year is it again. My fucking kid has a phone that does 4D,
you
or
zoom in.
4K or 4 whatever. Like, come on, why is everything so weird and grainy?
Yeah.
It's 2019. I want to see his cuticles on her boobies. I want to see. I want to see a little nip slip. I want to see something. It's like, we can't really make it. This is Zapruder Films. Like, what fucking years is a guy up there with a Super 8 like winding it? Why don't we have better equipment? It's 2019, people.
Get it together.
It's surveillance footage, but it's kind of hard to tell because it's kind of grainy. And it's a little difficult to see if he put his hand between her legs or just on her thigh.
Come on, Steve Jobs.
What year is that?
Everybody should just have a doorbell camera because those are crystal clear.
That's right.
Yeah, they're a Ring doorbell everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So speaking of the judges and the famous people, a grand jury in Queens has returned an indictment against Cardi B, according to a source with knowledge of the case who talked to ABC News. The charges weren't immediately clear since the indictment will not be unsealed until the arraignment. But Yahoo News says Cardi B had faced misdemeanor charges stemming from a brawl at a strip club in which she's accused of throwing bottles and chairs at two bartending sisters.
Listen, I don't want to be racist here, but you know how American Indians can use peyote because they get a sort of cultural pass?
Religious experience. Or
Let's say Cardi B thrown down at a strip club. That's a cultural pass for me. We don't need to get involved with that.
Okay.
That's part of
Leave
her.
it to...
She was a stripper.
Right.
Now she raps.
It's her natural habitat.
Goes back in there.
Throws
you know
a
what I
couple
mean?
bottles.
It's a cultural rite of passage for her to throw down at a strip club.
You should be on her defense
I'm not
team.
interested in taking another person of color and sucking them into the school to strip club pipeline.
Right.
Do you see what I'm saying?
I do.
I don't need Kim Kardashian with one more honeydew on her list of people she needs to get out. You know what I mean?
Exonerate Cardi.
She, used to shake her ass, probably dealt a little weed. Now she's paying a shitload in taxes.
It's her natural habitat.
Let's give her a pass.
Didn't she admit to drugging guys or getting them super drunk and taking their wallets?
Again, it's a cultural. Hey, everybody. Cardi, be careful and put a fucking napkin over your beer. It's hitting the stage. Sorry.
Yeah, I know I got the John Landis thing wrong, but Chris, back me up. I think I'm right about that one. I think she admitted to that. So this is what happened at the nightclub. NBC News says that
nightclub.
Cardi B reportedly suspected one of the bartending sisters having an affair with Offset from Migos, her husband. Mm-hmm. When he was performing at the strip club on the night of the fight, she was caught on video throwing an ice bucket at the sisters, with whom she's since been court-ordered to stay away from.
Let me tell you, there's an issue with women.
No.
Women will frequently punch people, men or women, because they don't possess a lot of upper body strength, and they're sort of like, if you're Dolph Lundgren, you can't just go throwing fists. You know what I mean? You're going to crack somebody. You're going to shatter an orbital socket.
Sure.
You're going to jail. Like, women are like constantly. They're kind of like birds in that they're angry all the time.
And pecking.
And what I mean is like, if you step on a dude's foot, the guy will go, hey, or pull his foot out or do something. If you step on a woman's foot, her hand will go flying.
That's
reflexively fly out and hit you. So there's a kind of an immediate wiring. It's a simple test. Step on a dude's foot, the dude makes a noise. Step on a chick's foot, her arm flies out from her. It's reflexive.
Right.
They're like birds. They're angry. That's why they call them birds in England.
Yeah.
Look it up.
That's true.
It's a fact.
Google it.
Google that shit. So, here's an issue now. The throwing of the hands out is fine because they're not pugilists. They don't have a lot of upper body strength.
They're not registered.
I've been whacked by women before. Right. Like, it's a fine. They hit you or whatever. It's like, yeah, all right. But then here's the problem. They also pick shit up and throw it. And the problem with throwing shit is the ice bucket is an ice bucket. It's not a male ice bucket or a female ice bucket.
It's a stainless steel
It's just a piece of stainless steel that is now traveling through the air.
It'll hurt.
And the part where you throw a hand or throw a kick or you tug some hair, we can get past that. You're going to chuck something and it hits somebody. We don't know who threw it, and it doesn't make no never mind that a woman threw it or a dude threw it. It's going to hurt somebody.
That's right.
So that's where women have to learn.
Yeah, we do. This is a headline from Refinery 29. Cardi B is owning up to a dark past of her that involved drugging and stealing from men to afford studio time.
Yeah.
Quite a salacious story.
I should have been a rapper.
Oh, yeah. Mayonnaise.
Because, like, when you're a rapper, you get to go, like, oh, man, like, back in the day, I remember one time, stole an infant, put it in a garbage disposal. People go, oh, well, you got to do what you got to do.
Oh, hard
man,
times.
fucking, you got to live. Oh, man. I'd find, like, elderly people, and I'd just go upside their head with a spoke from a wagon wheel. And just kick them just because it was Tuesday, and the people are like, "Well, yeah, man, but not anymore.
Yeah.
And the headlines
Now
like,
you're rich.
MC Mayonnaise
Now you're rich.
Reveals details of his troubled upbringing. It's like,
Right.
He's a violent sociopath.
Oh, I grew up. I'd sell Drano to retarded kids and watch them die in front of me. Oh, well, it's a tough environment, man.
Do what you got to do.
Product
See,
of the
like,
street.
if you're an accountant and you're like, yeah, when I was younger, I just beat the shit out of the elderly. People go,
What's
the
wrong
fuck?
with you?
Why aren't you in jail? See,
true.
So if you're a rapper now, whatever you did in the past, hey man, you had to do what you had to do
Yeah.
to get to here today.
We're proud of you.
It's nice.
Yeah.
If you're a politician, it's like, hey, let me have your yearbook from high school. I want to see what you doodled.
Yeah.
It's a little different. It's a little different yardstick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I'm going to tell my kid to be a rapper. Because that way,
You can go
if
hog wild.
wants to go upside any elderly people's head and steal their purse, all will be forgiven because that's the environment you grew up in. Hey, you had to do what you have to do.
Mean
There is
streets
no
of
judging.
love
And
Nevada.
by the way, we get a little more cred when it comes to your job, the rapping
Yeah.
part, too.
Yeah.
You know what I
You
mean?
can rap about it.
Yeah, no
Content.
one wants to hear about someone who grew up in an Encino.
No.
All right, let me tell you about. It is wild how much room we have for rappers X things, and we just like interview them. Like, I sold drugs, I broke in a house, I strong arm people, I carjack people. Okay, there you go. That's a pretty colorful past there. But anyway, now you're doing great, right? Like, yeah, okay. I wonder how the people you pulled out of the car felt. Let me tell you about. Oh, there's a Bill Cosby fans mad about Cardi B. Oh,
Yeah, they're comparing the two and saying
a lot of Bill Cosby fans.
Yeah, hashtag free Bill Cosby. They're writing.
Or hashtag lock up Cardi B. Like there's a separate math we could
exactly.
do,
Yeah.
right? All right, Gina, let's do one more.
All right. Well, more than a dozen people brawled at a Colorado youth baseball game.
I saw this.
Yeah, well, I'll show you a little video. After 13-year-old umpire made a questionable call. It happened.
13-year-old umpire?
13.
Oh, my God.
It happened last week. Now, watch the guy with the white shirt and the teal shorts because he's really the shit starter here.
I bet he calls him green. I bet it doesn't say
say teal.
Probably not in his
Turquoise.
vernacular.
It happened last week during a 7-year-old youth game. Police said parents and coaches started throwing punches in a dispute over whether the young ump made the right call. A policeman from the department said that when they got there, at least 15 to 20 adults were fighting. Several people got hurt, one person seriously. And they even say there is at least one suspect who sucker punches another person. He's wearing white shirt and teal pants. 4 people were cited with disorderly conduct, and police are looking to file more charges. They are going for it.
Well, I hate to blame your kind, Gina Grad, but
Wait
you
a
know what
second.
kicked off this? You're showing a bunch of dudes fighting.
Yeah.
Occasional chick, too. By the way, if you jump while punching somebody, your technique is lacking. I don't know how many professional boxing matches you guys have watched. I've never
very
seen
cool.
Sugar Ray Leonard jump up and try to punch
Go
somebody.
airborne.
It's cinematic, but
Yeah.
it's not practical.
It's good for Wonder Woman. It's not good for the Diamond.
So is this the Jews or the women we're blaming?
She could have been a Jew.
Okay.
But probably not. The whole thing started, Max Zapata, because I was studying TMZ last night. There was a woman. The woman had a baseball bat. And the woman was like swinging the bat around over her head and like yelling at the crowd and talking shit. And I think she may have even been a pregnant woman. Oh. And so before the whole Donnybrook like broke down, she had a bat. She was like yelling and like swinging around over her head. And at some point, and I don't think the punches had been thrown yet. At some point, some dude went up to her and grabbed the bat. It was like, give me the bat, or you can't be swinging this bat around. And when that guy grabbed the bat, then her old man or something like punched him.
The melee.
And then it was on, but started by the aforementioned angry woman with the weapon. You
can just say woman.
I don't know if we have sound.
There she is.
So
she looks
the guys
pregnant.
are like talking smack. I started from the beginning. I'm sorry. Started from the beginning. She has the bat. Turn it up, sir. She's got a bat.
He's a kid!
That started the fight. A woman with a bat, Gina. Oh. Where's my hot dog hat I can put on in protest? I'm going to knit myself. There was nobody throwing punches.
Was she okay? She was threatening.
She started if she wasn't born.
Okay.
Okay. None of this.
And her unborn.
He's trying sucker punch, fight on, because a woman was born. Because we let.
It's a cliche as old as time.
We let him out of the house, and look what happened.
She picked up a bat.
Helen of Troy, this woman.
She didn't make contact with anyone with a bat, but I understand your point. It was a call to action.
She was moving that bat around. She was very agitated.
Oh, she was threatening. She was
waving that thing around. A guy tried to get it out of her hand. That guy got sucker punched, and the whole thing went down. Yeah. Powder keg. But I don't know if she... I think she may have been pregnant. It's never a good sign when people are like...
That is not certain. She may have just had a gut.
She was wearing a shirt that ironically said like #1 mom or something on it. Like there's something pretty funny about it. But anyway. All right. Let's see.
That doesn't happen in La Cañada.
No. Let's bring it home, Gina Grad.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
I don't know how to put this lightly, but who cares?
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.